त्रिषु धामसु यद्भोग्यं भोक्ता भोगश्च यद्भवेत् तेभ्यो विलक्षणं साक्षी चिन्मात्रोऽहं सदाशिवः मय्येव सकलं जातं मयि सर्वं प्रतिष्ठितं मयि सर्वं लयं याति तद्ब्रह्माद्वयमस्म्यहम् अनोरणीयानहमेव तद्वन् महानहं विश्वमहं विचित्रं पुरातनोऽहं पुरुषोऽहमीश हिरण्मयोऽहं शिवरूपमस्मि अपानिपादो अहं चिन्त्यशक्तिः पश्यामचक्षुः सशृणोम्यकर्णः अहं विजानामि विविक्तरूपः न चास्ति वेत्ता ममाचेत् सदाहम् वेदैरनैक्यैरहमेव वेद्यः वेदान्तकृद्वेदविदेव चाहं न पुण्यपापे मम नास्ति नाशः न जन्म देहेन्द्रिय बुद्धिरस्ति न भूमिरापो न चावह्निरस्ति न चानीलो मेस्ति न चाम्बरञ्च। हरि ओम।
Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Namaste. Param Vedanta team welcomes you all with pleasure to this third class on Upanishads in our Introduction to Vedanta online class series. We will continue our study of Kaivalya Upanishad with a few mantras being explained by a few speakers. Dr. Hegde sir will of course be there in between to add the flavor of that extra bit. As per our usual practice, let me now chant the Shanti mantra, after which Dr. Hegde sir will begin his class on Kaivalya Upanishad. Om Bhadram Karne Vishrunuyaama Devaah Bhadram Pashyemakshabiryajatraah Sthirairangaih Stuštuvagam Sastanubih Vyashema Devahitam Yadayuh Swasti na Indro Vruddhashravah Swasti nah Pusha Vishvavedah Swasti nastarksho Arishtanemihi Swasti no Bruhaspatir Dadhatu Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.
Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Sadashiva Samarambam Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam. Om. We are studying the Kaivalya Upanishad and we have come to the central portion. Before we start from verse 13 onwards, I will give a little overview of the verses that we have studied so far. The word Kaivalya means Kevala. The Upanishad promises the students that you will attain to Kaivalyam or Moksha if this Upanishad is understood. Being an Upanishad from the Atharva Veda, we have the common Shanti part, which was just now chanted. And teachers also give a shortcut if you don't want to chant the full Shanti Pata as Bhadram Dadati. Bhadram means auspiciousness. Oh, bless me with auspiciousness. The Upanishad begins with two very auspicious words, Om and Atha. And these were the first two words uttered by Lord Brahma before creation. Atha here has the significance of Om. Atha also means thereafter, referring to the student Ashvalayana, who is a qualified student who comes to the teacher in a prepared way. That is how the Upanishad begins, introducing a very prepared student coming to Lord Brahmaji. And the student knows one thing for sure, that he is asking clearly for Brahma Vidya. The student knows that the only way to moksha is through Brahma Vidya if it is delivered by a guru, and he knows all the greatness of Brahma Vidya. In reply, the teacher says, if you want to learn, you have to have a certain quality of listening. That means Shraddha, Bhakti, and Jnana, which has been interpreted as from Shraddha, listen to the teacher, clarify your doubts, and meditate on the teaching. Lord Brahmaji begins very clearly by saying, what we do most of our waking hours, we spend our time in karma, that means earning a living, taking care of our children, that is prajaya, and taking care of our wealth, both generating and taking care of our wealth. He says none of these things are going to fulfill your objective. He highlights the qualification required, which is called Vairagya. Among the sadhana Chatustaya Sampanna, the proof of the qualification is your readiness to relinquish everything and anything that you have in a short notice. And if you have that qualification, the teacher says you will be able to accomplish. He gives the fruit. Parena nakam, something even beyond the heavens. You will discover that Purnatvam within the cave of your own heart. Then there is this very beautiful fourth verse in Kaivalya, which comes also in Mundaka and in Taittiriya, a verse worth repeating, worth memorizing, which goes like this: Vedanta Vijnana Sunishtithartha. The ultimate wisdom of Vedanta is Brahma Satyam Jagan Mithya. That I need to understand that I am the only reality and the world around me is a lesser order of reality. And this is possible through a series of upasana, beginning by Karma Yoga and Upasana Yoga, which the teacher refers to as Yatayaha. That means putting your effort in the right direction, and by mentally being a sannyasi, sannyasa yoga. By doing so, the antakaran, the mind becomes Shuddha. And for a pure mind, you're able to attain to the highest, Brahma Lokya. Brahma Lokya does not mean a location, but it means the highest. And when such a person drops the body, it is called Paranta Kale, because there is no Punarapi Jananam, Punarapi Maranam. And this is the highest that you can get. Having given the vision, Brahmaji puts us on the seat of meditation. He wants us to reflect on the essential teaching in three levels. Eka Rupa, Ishvara, visualize Shiva and Parvati. Bring in Bhakti in your heart. Visualize your Guru and see Shiva and Parvati before you. Advanced form of meditation is to see the Lord in the world as Vishwarupa, and the ultimate is to see the Lord as Ekarupa, and that goes in three verses, verses 5, 6, and 7. Having understood that form of meditation, now Lord Brahmaji is declaring a few statements that you want. You are Brahma, you are Vishnu, you are Shiva, you are Indira, you are Kala Tattva, you are Agni, you are everything. All the devatas are there in you, and it is there for all time. It was that principle of divinity is there at all time, and this is what we need to be able to jnatva. You need to understand to be able to attain to immortality, and the Lord teaches us there is no other way. You have to somehow internalize that truth that I am saying, you are that. So Once you discover the golden Buddha in you, once you discover the Atma Tattva in you, then your ability is to be able to see it everywhere. Just like in the 10th chapter is Vibhuti Yoga, where you're able to see divinity in the world and to be able to see the whole world as God. This is the next sort of vision that Brahmaji gives us. Then he puts us through a very picturesque scene of Atmanam Aranim Kritva, where our mind is being churned by using the Omkara. Om represents waking, dream, and the deep sleep state. So, in all the three states, if you are able to reflect on the spiritual understanding, Omkara also represents all the spiritual wisdom. Then you're able to get freedom from pashas. Pashas are all forms of, pasha literally means a noose that binds you. All those that binds you are over. The last verse that we studied in the last class were the diagnosis of why, although Brahmaji says you are that, he has declared that you are divine personified, and yet why we suffer. He says because of the power of Maya. The impossible becomes possible because of Maya. Although we are already that, we are not able to experience that. Your true nature is covered, and because the true nature is covered, now you identify yourself with a limited body-mind complex. And when you see yourself as a limited body-mind complex, none of us are able to accept that. We want to grow and we want to be as big as possible. And then starts the cycle of Stri, Annapana, Vichitra Bhogaya, and that is what happens in the waking state. What happens in the dream and the deep sleep, we will see in the next verse. I will request Dr. Ravi Shankar to explain verse number 13. Dr. Ravi Shankar, please.
Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. In the Jagrat Avastha, the wrong identification with the reflected consciousness rather than the original consciousness was highlighted in the verse 12. Let us recapitulate the Avastha Traya to understand this 13th verse. In our present Jagrat Avastha, please evaluate the dream world you have experienced earlier. Under the spell of sleep or Nidra, the dreamer projects a dream with a Vikshepa Shakti out of the Vasanas like a video cassette player, a VCP. Having created this dream, he enters the dream world and the Avarna Shakti takes over. The dreamness of the dream is concealed and the dream becomes real. So I claim the dream. We then suffer or enjoy the dream as though real. Swapna is empowered and the Swapna Samsara can really hurt. We can kick, shout, fall from the cot, and some people may get up with a cold sweat. What is the solution to this problem? Wake up. As soon as we wake up from this avidya, the vividly created and experienced dream world disappears. Now the second part, Brahman is Shuddha Mukta. Under the spell of Maya, Mahanidra sets in. Vikshepa Shakti gets activated and a Mahaswapna starts, and it creates this Jagrat Prapancha. Body-mind identification begins and the Shuddha Mukta element is lost and we get limited in this body. The Avarna Shakti gets activated and it conceals the fact that I am the creator of this Mahaswapna. This created Jagrat Prapancha is the video cassette recorder. We become a Bhokta and a Karta of the Samsara. Limited Jivatma is thus created from limitless Brahman. This Mahaswapna should be understood through the teachings of the Guru and Vedanta to come out of Samsara. What is the solution to this problem? Wake up from Maya. Uttishta Jagrata. Arise awake and sleep not. The verse 13 is easy to understand with this background. Swapne sa jivaha sukha dukkha bhokta swamayaya kalpita jiva loke sushupti kale sakale viline tamo abhibhutaha sukha rupameti. During dream, swapne, that jiva, sajivaha, experiences pleasure and pain, sukha dukkha bhokta, In a projected subjective world, Kalpita Jiva Loke, with his own Maya, Swa Mayaya. This next line. When everything resolves, Sakale Viline, in deep sleep, Sushupti Kale, he attains the nature of Ananda. Mind you, so specific. It's not Ananda, it is the nature of Ananda. Eti Sukha Rupam, overpowered by ignorance, Tamo Abhibhutaha. Sushupti is Atma Swarupa. We abide in it, but we don't know it. The Jiva, under the spell of Mahanidra, is the Jagrat Prapancha. Then there is the second spell of a Alpa Nidra, which is the Swapna Prapancha, also called as the Pratibhasika Prapancha. The only temporary respite from these two Nidras is the Sushupti Avastha, where there is no Vikshepa Shakti. In deep sleep, the Alpa Nidra of a dreamer and the Mahanidra of a waker both resolve, Sakale Viline, to become dormant like the sleep mode of a video cassette player. This Maya is the nature of Tamas. So let us give a perspective to sleep. Jiva sleep is Laya, Bhoga, Nidra. Ishvara sleep is Pralaya, Yoga, Nidra. Ajnani sleep is total ignorance, and we know ignorance is bliss. So this kind of a non-true bliss is total ignorance. Whereas the Jnani sleep is total knowledge, and that is true bliss. This error in Swapna and Sushupti Avastha has been beautifully brought out in this shloka, and a similar shloka is in the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 2, verse 69. Ya nisha sarva bhutanam tasyam jagrati samyami yasyam jagrati bhutani sa nisha pashyato muneh. To that which is night to all beings, in that state the God-realized yogi keeps awake, and that transient happiness in which all beings are awake is the night to that seer. Hari Om Sir.
Thank you very much, Dr. Ravi Shankar, for a nice explanation of this verse and also bringing that Bhagavad Gita verse of Ya Nisha Sarva Bhutani. What is day for a Jnani is night for an Ajnani. And what is the meaning of that in the context of this particular verse? For all of us, this world is absolutely real, and it is extremely difficult to accept this world is mithya and to accept Brahman as Satya. So all forms of Upanishads and all Vedanta dwell heavily on Anubhuti or our real experience. All of us experience dream, and while we are going through the experience of dream, a dream is vividly real for us, and we will say it is a dream only once we get out of the dream. But once we get out of the dream, what do we analyze our dream? While we were dreaming, we had enormous ability to create a dream world. That means while I'm dreaming, I have the ability to create a dream world, mountains, rivers, trains, aeroplanes, human beings, everything I could create. I not only created a wonderful dream world, I also create a body for myself. And this body of mine interacted with the world and acted like as if it was absolutely real. So what is the downfall? The downfall was, although I was the creator of my own dream, because of ignorance, I had become a creature in my dream. This is what we, in our second awakening, and if you're able to understand this, because if I have the ability to create the dream world, it is through Maya, this whole world this is the second awakening. The sleep is also very beautifully explained in this verse. Sleep is also an experience where I experience nothing, but I know that I experience nothing. Vedanta uses all these in every Upanishad to help us to wake up to that factor that is constant through the waking, through the dream, and through the deep sleep, which we will study in more detail in the next verse. Verse 14, Dr. Sanjay, please.
Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Let me chant the mantra number 14. Punascha Janmantara Karma Yoga Saeva jivaha swapiti prabuddhaha Puratraye kridati yascha jivaha Tatastu jatam sakalam vichitram Adharam anandam akhanda bodham Yasmin layam yati puratrayam cha. The teacher in these contemplative verses is instructing the student to contemplate on his own life experiences in the form of dream, wake, and sleeping state. We have seen that the Upanishad said the absolute self itself becomes a waker, the dreamer, and the sleeper because of the conditioning effects of the gross body, subtle body, and the causal body. Now, because of the power of the Maya, there is a misapprehension of the reality, and this limited jiva assumes a limited role and becomes an egocentric jiva or an individual. Now, this goes on in 3 states: waking state, dream state, and deep sleep state. So we tend to assume that once a person dies, these experiences might be stopped. But however, the scriptures say that because of the previous karmas that are done, so it says punascha janmantara karma yogat, because of the previous deeds in many lives, this individual, the individual, the egocentric individual now attains another birth, takes up a newer body, and starts playing again another role. Now, the Upanishad says, Saeva jivaha swapiti prabuddhaha. So the same individual self now wakes up to dream. Generally, we say waking from dream, but here the Upanishad says waking up to dream. What does this mean? From the standpoint of the absolute self, waking to the dream means the real life, the Jagrat Prapancha itself is like a dream. Hence, he says waking up to the dream. Now, this individual is Puratraye Kridati Yascha Jivaha. Now, this individual who is again reborn goes through the same similar 3 states of waking, dreaming, and sleeping. And this goes on and on endlessly. Now, the Upanishad says, Puratraye Kridati Yascha Jivaha. From the standpoint of the absolute self, it may be a sport, it is a dream. But however, the jiva, the individual, doesn't think so. He is tossed up and down from the experiences of pleasure and pain, and he is in eternal samsara, which never ends. The cycle of samsara is unending. So what is the way to get out of this samsara? Getting out of the samsara is just knowing the real nature of ourselves, that is the absolute self that I am, and not the miserable jiva. And that is what is known as liberation. So when I know this knowledge, that I am the supreme consciousness, the absolute self, he says, tatastu jatam sakalam vichitram. From that supreme self itself, everything rises, just like how I projected myself a dream world. The whole world of this Jagrat Prapancha is arising from that absolute self, sakalam vichitram, adharam anandam akhanda bodham. What is the nature of this self? This is the substratum, adharam. The absolute self is the adhara on which the whole world rests. Just like all the ornaments rest on gold alone, the whole world rests on absolute Brahman itself. Is the nature of anandam, that is bliss, which is also infinite, that is, which is limitless, is also bliss. And akhanda bodham is the nature of conscious, indivisible, undivided consciousness, which is self-illuminated and which will illuminate every other experience in this world, which cannot be illuminated by anything else. So this is adharam, anandam, akhanda, bodham. Yasmin layam yati puratrayam cha. So to this absolute self itself, all the 3 states resolve back. And that is why it is known as Yasmin layam yati Puratrayam cha. So this is the life cycle of an individual told in this mantra, who realizes that he is the creator and not the creature that he is suffering when he wakes up. And that is liberation. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Sanjay Banakal, for a very clear explanation of this verse. This verse is the Punarapi Jananam Punarapi cycle, which goes on and on and on. As a teacher once said, it sounds very frightening. So you sleep, dream, wake up, sleep, dream, wake up. One day we pop off. And then what happens? Wake up in another body, and the cycle continues. Sleep, sleep, dream, wake up, sleep, dream, wake up. And this cycle goes on and on until we come across a teacher, an acharya who can help us to get out of this merry-go-round cycle. A little punascha janmantara karma. The karma there in the first line talks about the law of karma. Whenever we do any actions, it has either punya or papa. That is why any amount of punya or papa will only keep on accumulating, and that perpetuates a cycle. Somewhere we need to get out of this cycle of more and more punya and more papa. When we are born with a certain amount of punya and papa, which is called the prarabdha. The question is, what wakes you up in the morning? It is not your alarm clock that wakes you up. You think it's your alarm that wakes you up. What wakes you up is the prarabdha that has to be exhausted in a particular day, and that is what wakes you up, and that is what will prevent you from sleep. It ejects you from sleep because you have to finish the certain amount of quota of. Now, if we realize that this is what has been happening enough, and we have a certain amount of vairagya, that, you know, I don't want this anymore. That is where we turn 180 degrees to a teacher, and a teacher tells us how to get out of the cycle. Now we are now looking for that wisdom to help us to get out of the cycle. The next verse is by Dr. Ahalya. And Dr. Ahalya, can you explain verse 15 for us?
Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Mantras 12 to 23 contain the central teaching of this Upanishad, that is the Jivatma Paramatma Aikyam. Mantras 12 to 17 explain the Aikyam in the form of Upadesha Vakya, and verses 18 to 22 has Mahavakya Upadesha. Brahmaji introduces the Vedantic inquiry, Shravanam Mananam, by giving the example of churning of the Aruni wood for generating fire. And from verse 12 to 17, we analyze the Jiva Swarupa and Ishvara Swarupa. From this analysis, we know that there is only one consciousness which is appearing as Jiva in the Vyashti Bhava and as Ishvara in the Samashti Bhava. One consciousness is manifested in two reflecting mediums, the Sharira Traya and the Prapancha Traya. In verse 15, Sharira Varnana is given in the first line as Vyashti, and the second line talks of creation itself, Samashti. The verse, Etasmat jayate pranaha manaha sarvendriyani cha kham vayu jyotirapaha prithvi vishwasya dharini. The meaning, from the Jiva are born the prana, mind, all the organs of cognition and action, space, air, fire, water, and earth, which is the supporter of all. Iye tasmat, from this Jivatma, who is now none other than the Paramatma, the difference being identification with the body-mind complex as in Jivatma, and Paramatma renounces that limited expression through body-mind. Kam vayu jyotirapaha prithvi cha jayate. The five elements arise as the ether, wind, fire, water, and earth. Vishwasya dharini. This is the description for Prithvi, and it is the supporter of all things and all beings, Vishwasya. The five bhutas include both the Sthula and the Sukshma bhuta. The verse further reads as, in addition to this, the Bhautika Prapancha, products of the Bhuta Prapancha, are also born out of me. They are Pancha Prana, the five-fold physiological system, Prana, the vital force, Apana, the evacuative force, Vyana, the circulatory one, Udana, the respiratory one, and Samana, the digestive one. Manaha, which is one of the 11 Indriyas, also called Ubhayendriya. It is a part of the Antahkarana Chatushtaya. Indriyani, the 5 sense organs, Shrotra, Tvacha, Chakshu, Rasanendriya, and Granendriya, and the 5 organs of action, Vak, Pani, Pada, Payu, and Upastha. The subtler aspects of this we have already studied in the class on Tattvabodha. The Sukshma Shariram consists of 19 components, the Pancha Prana, Pancha Jnanendriya, Pancha Karmendriya, and the Antahkarana Chatushtaya. To imply, Upanishad says that the Sukshma Sharira of all beings are born out of Jivatma or Paramatma or Brahman, as we understood. Hiranyagarbha Sukshma Shariram is also made up of this. So, Jagat Karanam is defined. The significance or the highlight of this shloka is the Adhyaropa Apavada method of teaching is employed here. To make it a little clear, if we have to remember the definition, it's a false superimposition followed by a retraction. That is, according to this method, first superimposition on self is mentioned, and later on, this superimposition is negated in the same Shruti. In the 15th mantra, it is clearly stated that the world, Panchabhautika Prapancha, and Sharira emerge from Brahmatma or Ekatma. This is Adhyaropa. Why? Because if the above statement is true, the Upanishad should have concluded that the world exists. However, in the 22nd mantra, Upanishad categorically says that the world does not exist. The verse 15 is Adhyaropa and verse 22 is Apavada. Joining these two mantras, we can conclude that the world has seemingly emerged. The second significance is this shloka is very similar to the Taittiriya Upanishad shloka of Tasmatva etasmatva atmanaha akasha sambhutaha akashad vayu. The Srishti Prakriya that is explained as similar in both the Upanishads. Harihi Om Sir.
Thank you, Dr. Ahalya. A very, very clear and a complete explanation of this particular verse. Unbelievable, but we have to recollect that we are sitting in front of Lord Brahmaji himself. Remember, the best way to understand this Upanishad is Shraddha, Bhakti, Dhyana. Meditate on these words of Brahmaji to us directly with Shraddha. Why should the Lord tell us what is not true? He is declaring that you are the creator, and from you, everything has come into being. Now, this cannot be my experience because although I am whatever Brahmaji says, because of the proximity of this instrument of body-mind, whatever I see through me is going to be necessarily limited. My experiences are going to be limited. My powers are going to be limited. So let us accept for now with all faith that I, because of my upadhi, experience a limitation, but my experience is not the reality, just like the sunset and the sunrise. But the truth is, I am that Parabrahma, Paramatma confined in this limited body. As long as I have this body in my proximity, this is going to be my experience. So what do? Play the role that this body has to take care. Take care of your body. Honestly, there is nothing great to accomplish in this world except to make this a nishta and make this a fact and let the spiritual understanding. Our teachers insist very much, don't go for experience. Brahman is not going to be it's not going to be an out of the world experience, but focus on Brahma Jnanam as a Jnana Nishta that this knowledge is true. And if Shraddha and Bhakti, because if this is understood, the less, as Dr. Ahalya said, there is a certain shift in these verses. There are some of these verses which I'm going to give you as very, very important because there are two types of Mahavakyas that you will hear. One kind of Mahavakya is like the Tattvamasi Mahavakya, where the teacher declares that you are that. All that you are listening to is those verses where the teacher is saying you are that. once the student, here Ashwalayana or any one of us, once we realize what the teacher says is true, then the Tattvamasi Mahavakya now becomes different. You will be saying Aham Brahma Asmi. Now those are the Aham Brahma verses, are those verses that I would like you to remember, and those are the verses that I've asked Radha to chant before and at the end of the class. We go to the next verse. I will request Dr. Sundar to explain verse 16th verse. Dr. Sundar, please.
Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Yat Param Brahma Sarvatma Vishwasya Ayatanam Mahat Sukshmat Sukshmataram Nityam Tvameva Tat Tvameva Tvameva Tat. Brahmaji presented Vedanta Vijnana Sunishchitartha as the final destination for us sadhakas, through which we can gain Jivan Mukti and Videha Mukti. Sunishchitam there meant that this knowledge should become a fact, which he showed us can be done through the process of Nididhyasanam in the previous verses. Vedanta Vijnana Artha means the essence of Vedanta, means Jnanam, means Jivatma Paramatma Aikya Jnanam, that is being discussed in these verses. So Jnana Yoga, Brahmaji is presenting through the process of Atma Vichara or Vedanta Vichara or Mahavakya Vichara. That is the place in Kaivalya Upanishad where we are right now. Yat Param Brahma, that Param Brahma. Param here means infinite, means supreme, which as we can understand in the following adjectives. Sarvatma, Brahma is being presented as the Karana Ishvara, which is there within everything manifest in the universe as its very essence. Sarvatma is the inner essence in everything. Next word, Vishwasya Ayatanam Mahat. There is a shift here where it is said that the Karana Brahma is not just present within as the essence, but it is present without as the very substratum. How is it possible that something which is inside as the essence is also outside as the substratum? This peculiar association comes about whenever there is a cause and effect. As we have seen previously in the clay and pot example, the cause is in the effect as the very essence. Also, the cause is the sole substratum for the effect. Actually, there is no effect other than cause. So, these two words, Sarvatma and Vishwasya Ayatanam Mahat, actually go to say that Brahma is Satyam and Jagat is Mithya. Anatma Mithyatva Nishchayatvam. That is what is being done in these two words, which establishes Advaitam or Ekatvam of Brahma. Therefore, it is understandable that he is Param. Next phrase is Sukshmat Sukshmataram. He is subtler than the subtlest. So the comparison is something which is already subtle. So we see through our experience that everything that is manifest comprises of the 5 elements. These 5 elements are graded in their subtlety from gross to subtle. Let us examine this in more detail. We start with Prithvi. So Prithvi has got 5 properties, which is Shabda, Sparsha, Rupa, Rasa and Gandha. So Prithvi is Pancha Indriya Gocharam. Down the gradient we see that Jalam is Chaturindriya Gocharam, Vayu is 3 Indriya Gocharam, then we have Agni which is 3 Indriya Gocharam, we have Vayu which is Dva Indriya Gocharam, and Akasha which is Eka Indriya Gocharam. So when it is said that it is subtler than the subtlest, the meaning is that this Param Brahma is subtler than Akasha. He is Sarva Indriya Agocharam. Another word used for that is Avyaktam. He is also Mana Agocharam. He is beyond conceptualization of the mind, incomprehensible. The word there used is Achintyam. Together, he is Aprameyam. So the question may be, is such a subtle thing there at all? So the Upanishad rebuts and says, it is not just there, but it is Nityam. The translation in English is eternal for want of a better word. But Swami Param says that when you talk about time, time is the gap between 2 events. 2 events means duality. When we talk about Brahman, the duality is resolved. So the gap between two events is resolved. Time itself is resolved. Same is with space. So what Nityam here indicates is that Brahman is not eternal. It is timeless and spaceless. Or in other words, time and space are residing in Brahman. So there is no question of doubting whether he exists. Then the Upanishad says that this Brahman, which has been thus glorified, is you. Tvameva tat tvameva. So this is the Mahavakyam, where that Paramatma is being equated to Jivatma. And there is a reason why this is repeated twice as Tvat tat tvameva and tvameva tat. Swami Param says, when you say all Tamilians are Indians, there is Aikyam, but there is a part in the whole Aikyam because all Indians are not Tamilians. By repeating in reverse, what is pointed out is the relationship between Paramatma and Jivatma is not one of part in whole, but it is equal in equal. It is total equality. Now, there is so much difference I perceive between myself and Paramatma. So how do I comprehend this? So Swami Param says, when you say 8 equal to 8, there is superficial equality. You don't need a Mahavakyam. However, if I put the equation as 3 plus 5 is equal to 9 minus 1, we see that the numbers are different, the symbols are also different. So what is important is there is essential oneness, although there is superficial difference. So in conclusion, Sa Upadika, there is Abheda, but Nir Upadika, there is Aikyam. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Sundar, for a complete explanation of this verse. We have to get that last line. Tat tvam eva tat. This is the Mahavakya that Brahmaji is declaring to us. And all of us want some logic, so he has given certain logic. There are certain words called Mahat Sukshmat Sukshmataram eva. It is said, and Adi Shankara has given a commentary somewhere, that the subtler the object, the bigger it is. The subtler, bigger, and close. And what is the subtlest, biggest, and closest to you is our consciousness. And that is why if you go by the elements, as he described, Earth has got 5 components. Space has got only 1 of these gunas. Beyond space is the mind. Now, where is the whole world? If you will see, this whole world is in my mind, and this mind is in my consciousness. And sometimes if these verses are too difficult to understand, go by Shraddha. Our teacher has declared again and again, you are that. Slowly and slowly, sometimes we have to go beyond logic. If logic does not appeal, let Shraddha appeal that I am that. From now on, play the role of the extraordinary within this limited and complex. We'll see what the next verse is. Dr. Sanjay Mehrotra has to explain. Dr. Sanjay, please.
Good evening to everybody. Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Now in the 17th verse, there is some practical understanding which is being provided and which is very simple to understand. Jagrat swapna sushupti tyadi prapancham yat prakashate tat brahma aham iti gyatva sarva bandhai pramuchyate. So here the 3 states of our existence, which is also called as avasthatraya, which is the waking, dreaming and sleeping, which we have understood in the previous verses. Yat prakashate, which is being illumined by what? That Brahma aham iti gyatva, by knowing that all the bandhans are abolished or pramuchyate. I am that which pervades the Jagrat, Swapna and Sushupti Avastha, which is also called as Avasthatraya, as I said. Knowing this, one is relieved from the cycle of birth and death. This is a Mahavakya. Again, here also, the Jivatma, Paramatma, Aikyam is revealed. Now, what is a Jivatma? A Jivatma, which we have known from the previous understanding, is a body with a reflected consciousness with attributes in it. At the individual level, when we have attributes with this reflected consciousness, it is also called as micro level or the Veshti level. And what is a Paramatma? Is also a consciousness with attribute. Both Jivatma and Paramatma have attributes, but Paramatma has attributes at the macro level. So Jivatma is a part of that macro, which is Paramatma, which includes everything, and both have attributes. So this is important to understand. So even when we become connected to that Paramatma, or the Jivatma Paramatma Aikyam takes place, we still have attributes, and we still not realize the state of Brahman, which is attributeless. So in the Jivatma, there are three states which are called as Avasthatraya, as I said, Jagrat, Swapna, Sushupti. And what illumines is the fourth one, which is also described in other Upanishads at the Turiyam state, or the fourth one, I am Atma Chatushpa. The Mandukya Upanishad will talk about it. But most of us are ignorant of my true nature and identify myself with the body-mind complex, which is subject to modification. And we have known it before. It goes through the process of Asti Jayate, Vardate, all that we discussed in the past. And because this is subject to modification, we also go through suffering in the life. And this is the important part. And all the Shastras are trying to teach that your original nature is non-known to you, and this is your ignorance. You consider yourself with the body-mind, which has desires to make you a karta and a bhokta, and you continue to seek karma phala. Vritam pibante, Kathopanishad says in the third valli. So one has to obtain knowledge about his true nature and practice that understanding continuously, which is most important. The practice is most important. Nididhyasanam. You can have an intellectual understanding, but the most important is you need to practice it. Mind has to be made equanimous by stilling it with some technology, and that control of desires, sense organs are the initial steps in achieving it. This knowledge, which gives you this understanding, is provided in all the Upanishad, Bhagavad Gita, and we need Guru Shastra Upadesha, which is what we are doing right now. How you still your mind is the part of the Ashtanga Yoga, Japa and Upasana. Now the last one, Tad Brahma Aham Iti, that's the last line. That supreme reality, I am, is a Mahavakya. Initially, my attributed nature at the level of Jivatma, which is at micro level, has to merge into the macro. So when we do Dhyanam by this understanding, or do Upasana by this understanding, there would be a time when we will become one with Paramatma, but that is still Savikalpa. And if there are no attributes attached with my nature, that means your senses, your desires have all gone. Your macro also becomes attributeless, and you become one with that attributeless, which is Brahman. Knowing this, I am liberated from the bondage of life. So even after the Jivatma Paramatma Aikyam takes place, your mind should become so still that the attributes, you will perform your work and action in this world, but you have no attributes. And that state is the state of enlightenment or moksha. By knowing this, I am liberated from the bondage of life. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Sanjay, for a very beautiful explanation. So until now, the teacher is using all kinds of example, all kinds of words to get this straight into our head, that we live in Tripura. We live in three worlds, in the world of Jagrat, in Swapna, and in the deep sleep. And he says, you are an illuminator of all the three worlds, but you are, our whole spiritual wisdom is to be an illuminator and not to be affected. One of our teachers, Swami Anubhavananda, gives a very nice example. how you can be an illuminator and not be affected. By illuminator means, see, I see pleasant things, I see unpleasant things. I have pleasant experiences, I have unpleasant experiences. If I identify with my body mind, I get affected, I suffer. But if I stay one step behind and I watch my waking state, I watch my dream state, but dream state I may not have any control, but we let us focus our exercise in every activity that happens through our, to be an illuminator and not to be affected. Our teacher Swami Anubhavananda gives a nice example of a cigarette smoker. Every time he buys a cigarette pack, he looks into it and he says, cigarette smoking is injurious to health. Does it affect him? He illumines a fact, but it is unaffected. Now, can you be like that? Can you be able to illumine the fact? That can be possible only through this jnanam, which the Kaivalya Upanishad has given verse by verse until verse number 17. Verse number 18, you will see a shift, and Dr. Anupama will explain this, but you will see suddenly there is a transition. What is that transition? Dr. Anupama, please tell us.
Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Verse 18. Trishu dhameshu yad bhogyam bhokta bhogascha yad bhavet tebhyo vilakshana sakshi chinmatroham sadashiva. This means I am Sadashiva of the nature of witness consciousness, free from the triputi of enjoyer, enjoyment, and enjoyed in all the three states. Word meaning Trishu Dhameshu, in the three states of awareness, Jagrat, Swapna, and Shushupti. Bhogyam, Bhokta, Bhoga means enjoyed, enjoyer, enjoyment. Yad Bhavet Tebhyo Vilakshana, that which is distinct from these. Sakshi Chinmatra Sadashiva Aham, I am that which is the witness, the Sakshi, pure consciousness, Chinmatra, ever auspicious Sadashiva. From mantras 18 to 22, as Dr. Timappa just said, we see the shift from Tat Tvam Asi, the Upadesha Rupa Mahavakyam, what the Guru Upadesha tells us, to Aham Brahmasmi, the Anubhava Rupa Mahavakya. We must realize that in order to claim that I am Sakshi, the witness, changeless consciousness, the Tat Padartha Jivatma must be very, very clearly understood. Applying the fundamental laws of Vedanta, I should dissociate from my body-mind complex and all the associated attributes and realize that my intrinsic nature is only that aspect of me which is inherent as the illuminator of Jagrat, Swapna, Shushupti avasthas, referred to here as Trishu Dhameshu. When this concept becomes a deep conviction, I become an Atma Nishta. This process of graduating from the triangular format of Ishvara, Jiva, Jagat to the binary format of Brahma Satya, Jagat Nitya, the Upadesha Rupa Mahavakya, Tattvam Asi, as taught by Guru Shastra Upadesha, by a process of Nidithyasana, becomes Anubhava Rupa Mahavakya, Aham Brahmasmi. Other than me, the Chit Sadashiva. Whatever I experience is divided into a triad, a triputi, Bhogyam, Bhokta, Bhogaha. Bhogyam is the universe, Bhokta the experiencer, and Bhogaha is the experience. The Bhogyam universe, in this, the Stula Prapancha, the experiencers called Vishwa Chidabhasa. In the Sukshma Prapancha, the experiencer is the Taijasa Chidabhasa, and in the Karana Prapancha, the Bhokta is Prajna Chidabhasa. The bhoga or experience is the thoughts in the form of anubhava trayam. So, am I the subject? From the Paramarthika angle, no. From the Vyavaharika angle, yes. With respect to an object, I temporarily get the status of subject. But the Sat Chit Atma I am neither the subject, the pramata, the instrument, the pramana, or the object, the prameyam. I am the Triputi Vilakshana Atma, the pure consciousness Chinmatra. Here Brahmaji says, I, the Jivatma, am none other than Sadashiva, the Paramatma, the supreme consciousness behind the entire creation. So to begin with, we start with this triangular format of Ishvara, Jiva, and Jagat. As we dissociate from the Anatma, the Jagat, and the body-mind complex, we find that the radius of the circle shrinks till ultimately it becomes a point. This is Jivatma Paramatma Aikyam, Aham Sadashiva. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Anupama, for a very nice explanation of, as you said, this is a transition verse. The transition is the student has understood. Can you imagine the exclamation of the student who has understood Tattvamasi Mahavakya? From now on, the student will now not only claim, the student begins to exclaim. Until now, the teacher was saying, although it is not spoken as Ashwalayana Uacha, we have to understand it, that the student has now understood it, and now the student is saying, Trishu dhamasu yad bhogyam bhokta bhogasya yad bhavet tebhyo vilakshana sakshi chinmatroham sadashiva. This is the claim of the student. I am none of the three. I am not the experiencer, nor the experienced, nor the experience. How do we understand this? I will go to my favorite dream example. In the dream example, what happens? I create a dream world and I create a dream body. Now, the experience of the world is mithya. The experiencer is mithya. The whole process is also mithya. And I am apart from all the three. Tebhyo vilakshanaha sakshi chinmatroham sadashiva. So if this is understood, then the Mahavakya becomes very easy to understand. And this is the whole shift from the triangular format to the binary format. The binary format is what? Brahma Satyam Jagan Mithya Jivo Brahmaiva Naparaha. The exclamation continues. Next week you will have one of the highest from now on, Trishu Damasu up to the rest are those verses which I have requested Radha to chant, are these 5 verses which I would like you to, maybe I will send a text message today after the class. These 5 verses, keep it in your mind. Our teachers want us to study the entire Kaivalya, but for now, these 5 verses can be as Mayeva Sakalam Jat. I alone are the one who bring the whole world into existence. I sustain the whole world, and the world concludes into me. I am smaller than the smallest, the bigger than the biggest. You know, the student now, Ashwalayana, or you can see yourself going into an ecstasy of poetry. No, I have no hands, but I have tremendous amount of power. I am the Vedas, I am spoken about the Vedas, I am the creator of the Vedas. You know, this is the exclamation. That is what we are going to see in the next class. And if you have the time to evaluate all these verses or study the audios of these verses, when it is spoken to by our students, you will be able to understand. And Kaivalya Upanishad has got 2 chapters. This is the 2nd chapter. What you're seeing is 2 verses of the final chapter. And this is the Palashruti, where it says, if you have understood this, all your papas are burnt. You are not going to be affected. Don't worry if you have been a sinner. All of us have committed various amount of sins. Whatever is the intensity of the sin, that you will be forgiven. And the teacher says, Shatarudri, which is actually Sri Rudram. go on chanting the Sri Rudram or go on chanting the Kaivalya Upanishad to be able to attain Purnatvam. I will request Radha to chant this Trishu Dhamasu once again so that we remember these 5 words.
Trishu Dhamasu Yadbhogyam Bhokta Bhogascha Yadbhavet Tebhyo Vilakshanam Sakshi Chinmatroham Sada Shivaha Mayeva Sakalam Jatam Mai Sarvam Pratishthitam Mai Sarvam Layam Yati Tad Brahma Dvayamasmyaham Anoraniyanahmeva Tadvan Mahanaham Vishwamaham Vichitram Puratanoham Purushohamishah Hiranmayoham Shivarupamasmi Apanipado aham chintya shaktihi Pashyama chakshuhu sashrunomya karnaha Aham vijanami vivikta rupaha Nachasti vekta mama chit sadaham Vedairanaikyairahmeva vedyaha Vedanta kritveda videva chaham Na punya pape mama nasti nashaha Na janma dehendriya buddhirasti Na bhumi rapo na chava nirasti na chanilo mesti na chambarancha. Hari Om.
Thank you, Radha. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.
Thank you, sir. Dear friends, we have today completed our penultimate class on Kaivalya Upanishad. Next Sunday will be the concluding session and we'll be completing the study of this Upanishad. As I keep telling you while winding up after every session, there is no shortcut to understand this subject. Shravanam, Mananam, and Nididhyasanam are the 3 golden steps to get into the groove. So I request you to kindly do the Mananam part once you log out. Otherwise, all the hard work you have done to plan and spend your 1 hour here week after week will be futile. I once again repeat my request that I made on Friday to kindly subscribe to our channel Param Vedanta on YouTube. Please request your family members and friends also to do the same. Our study of Kaivalya concludes next Sunday, but a couple of days before, that is on Friday 31st July 2020, we are going to start a new journey from Kurukshetra battlefield to know how this Kaivalya will be and how to attain this from none other than Bhagavan Vasudeva himself. It will be an enchanting journey, a challenging journey, and a journey of our life, passing through various destinations like Karma Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, Upasana Yoga, and Jnana Yoga. We will travel from Vishada to Vairagya, from Arjuna to Agnana to Gnana, from Karma to Sannyasa, from Ekarupa to Vishwarupa, from Savikalpa to Nirvikalpa, and from Jivatma to Paramatma. I wish to thank Dr. Ravi Shankar, Dr. Sanjay Bankal, Dr. Ahalya, Dr. Sundar, Dr. Sanjay Mehrotra, Dr. Anupama for their profound and in-depth presentation of some of the difficult mantras. I thank Srimati Radha Muralidharan for her immaculate and melodious chanting of Kaivalya Upanishad mantras. Dr. Hegde sir, pranams and thanks to you for yet another wonderful class. Friends, chat options have been enabled. Please drop your questions and we will take them up next Sunday. Let's meet coming Friday, 31st July 2020 evening for the inaugural session of this 20-week program on Bhagavad Gita. Do not forget to log in before 6:45 p.m. local time. Namaste and thank you once again. Hari Om.